Wow, Brendan, can't believe you're here.
Neither can
We're
I.
here. We're alive. We're dry.
We're very dry.
There's no oiliness in
Not a
this shot.
single
Speck of shine.
5, 6, 7, 8. We got Big Theater Kid Energy.
Hello and welcome to Big Theater Kid Energy. I am your host, Ryan Garcia. Today I am joined by Brendan Bradley. Hello, Brendan. How you doing?
I'm okay. Y'all do not go to the theater with Ryan Garcia.
What?
We got held hostage.
We did get held hostage. That is not a lie.
I mean, that was not on the brochure.
Don't come out and try to do your tight five
No.
after the show's
No.
over. We saw the show.
We did. We did.
That was not an opener.
It was
you're not the
a-
closing act.
It was not a tight five either.
It was not a tight five
That
either,
was
was
yeah,
it?
that was a lot. The good news is, if you couldn't read the program, you had it read to you after the conclusion of the show.
If you don't know what we're talking about, that's because I haven't told you yet. This is Big Theater Kid Energy, the show where I go around with a special guest and see the theater happening here and now in LA. Either it's original shows happening just here, or it's touring shows that may be coming to a city near you. We interview the guest, and I give a little review with my guest of the show we just saw. The show we saw is Perfect World. It's a new musical. It only ran at the theater for a limited run from November 1st through 9th. This is coming after its run, so we're just telling you our thoughts after the fact. So you can't run and see it, but maybe it'll have a life somewhere else. Who knows? Anywho, Brendan, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. And can I just say, congratulations on this endeavor, this whole podcast. I've been following from the beginning. It's a huge amount of work and effort, but it's brilliant. I'm glad it's working out. And I'm a fan. I'm just a fan of Ryan Garcia. I've worked with you, I've directed you, and now I listen to your podcast.
And acted with you together. We've
It's
acted
true.
in stuff together.
It's
The
true.
thing that you directed, we acted together in. And thank you so much for saying that. You have been so kind, reaching out to me and letting me know these thoughts. And
This is a
giving
lot of
me
work, y'all.
That positive feedback. And I got to tell you, first guest who I really trusted to go behind the camera and check my shot for me. Like, it's really nice to have someone who also understands all the work that goes into putting together a filmed podcast and a filmed project and has that technical know-how.
It's good. Neurotic recognizes neurotic.
Yeah, for sure. Very type A.
Yeah.
Very type A in a room together. Also, I like this shirt. You came in a different shirt.
Thank
I didn't
you.
see you change, and here you are in this beaut. Where is this from? This is gorgeous.
I wanted to assess the situation. What's the palette of the room? You know. Yeah.
I know, very smart. I do
There'll
the
be a
same.
wardrobe change midway through, which there were many wardrobe changes in the show we shot.
Yes.
In fact, when we first got there was a tent in the lobby.
That's right.
Of the theater, and at first
And you
we
were like,
thought
"That's for
maybe it
quick
was yeah.
You knew it immediately. No, I think you knew it immediately.
I mean, look, it's because I wish I always had a tent for quick changes in the
Yeah.
lobby, and no one has ever provided me a tent in the lobby.
So you've had to do quick changes in lobbies.
Oh, yeah. I've had to do quick changes on the street
No.
because I've been in theaters that were so small, there was no lobby. So you would go out onto the street in Manhattan and do your quick change and then re-enter the building.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just want to do a quick, so everyone knows who you are. I mean, many people already do know who you are.
No. Hi, Mom. You know who I am.
But you've been in, but that's not true. You've been in countless, like, TV and commercials, and I think in films as well.
It's true.
And also, like, I mean, I know this was a while ago, but were you the staple guy?
I was a staple guy for 3 years. I won the Actors Lottery. I got to be a spokesperson.
And now you work so much in digital VR performance.
It's true. It's true. During COVID, I basically wanted to keep performing live and figured, why can't we do this inside of a video game? So
Right.
I started putting theater inside of video game systems.
And you described it to me in such a way that I loved, which is it's really puppetry.
Yes.
That you're working
That's all
with.
it is.
It's just digital puppetry.
Correct.
And it's still being manipulated and voiced and created and moved by artists.
Fully by artist in real time, and stage management. And the craft of building a scenery, you can get world builders. The craft of doing sound and lighting design, you still preserve. The idea of wardrobes, building avatars. Like, you're maintaining all of the collaboration and all of the humanity and the work-driven art. But you're just putting it into pixels instead of physical manifestations.
That's so cool. And you just went and taught like a what?
So
what do you call it? A course, or?
It's not quite a course. It's more like a workshop or kind of like a development series. So I published a 40-page paper, academic paper, through Avignon University about VR theater last year. And since then, I've been invited to universities to basically talk to this intermingling of theater students and game design students and letting them collaborate together.
Wow. That is so cool. And I'm like, so engaged by it. I also just like love puppetry. I love experiencing it. I've had a small amount of experience being able to do it myself for productions. And it's just like I find it so fascinating and wonderful. I also love the Muppets.
Of course,
so, like,
we are the generation of the Muppets.
We are. I hope there's new ones. I feel like Jason Segel is trying to keep it alive for everyone.
He is, but did you also know this week, which will also be time sensitive, is the first time that they are auctioning off anything from Muppets Christmas Carol?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which I can't afford anything like that. But if you wanted to ever sit in an auction and watch them bring out the props from the original Muppet Christmas Carol, you can sit there and raise a paddle, at the very beginning when it's like $100 and then watch
as it goes
crazy
up to
weirdos.
10,000
Yes.
and 11,000.
Yes.
I tried to share my love for A Muppet's Christmas Carol with Kelly, my wife.
And it didn't work.
Well, she's Australian. She didn't grow up with it.
Okay.
It just isn't part of her nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself feeling uncomfortable watching it with her because I could just like tell she wasn't enjoying it. I'm like, you have to leave the room. You're ruining this for me.
So my third date with my partner Ashley, she made us watch Muppet Treasure Island. Because if I didn't pass the Muppet litmus test, I was not the right guy.
Yeah.
So I had to make sure she had to make sure that I could survive a full watching of the Muppets with her literally reciting every single line and singing along with every song to ensure that this relationship was going to work.
I think you probably already heard this before, but I love the comparison of Christmas Carol and Treasure Island.
Yeah.
In that Michael Caine acts like all the Muppets are humans.
Yes.
And Tim Curry acts as though he is a Muppet.
Yes. Yes.
Which I think is so genius. And so true to it. What was the first show that you were in? Do you remember?
Ever?
Yeah.
The first play I ever did was the Clumsy Custard Horror Show and Ice Cream Clone Review, which is a children's show.
A classic show.
Everyone loves the show. It was done at Raleigh Little Theater, which is the community theater an hour away from where I grew up.
Where'd you grow up?
In Durham, North Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah.
And so my mom, I didn't have any friends. I was bad at school. I had no real hobbies. I was just one of those kids that didn't connect with anything. And my mom was like, I don't know, let's drop him off at this community theater.
Yeah.
And I did the worst Richard III monologue that anyone has ever seen. And I somehow got cast in this children's show.
I got to say, there's got to be worse out there.
Nah, it was pretty bad.
There's got to be worse. Richard. Look, a lot of people have done it.
It's true. But not as bad as I have. But no, like it was great because I just came alive. I had never experienced theater before. It was theater in the round. So the first time I actually did a proscenium show, I was confused because I was like, what do you mean we can't like turn around? That's weird. They're not all around us. But it was one of those things where, like the kids are like, look behind you. And I look over the wrong shoulder and they're like, no, like, it's just that level of hijinks, interactivity, collaboration, and just seeing the immediate effect that you can have on the audience.
Right. And are you a musical theater guy as well?
I aspire to be.
What does that mean?
I love musical theater. I have my entire life, and I enjoy doing musical theater. I've written 2 musicals.
No way.
But that
doesn't surprise me. I said no way, like I couldn't believe it. But honestly, it doesn't surprise me anything. You're such a go-getter. You're such a like self-builder that it doesn't surprise me that you've also written 2 musicals.
I just have a lot of free time. But I was in New York. I was lucky enough to go to college in New York and to be in New York and be surrounded by the most talented musical theater artist in the country, if not the world. And very quickly was like, oh, they have an ability that I do not possess.
I tell you, I relate to that so hard. I mean, like even just this last show I just did, I'm just like, oh, you all not only have like a God-given gift,
yes,
but you also devoted serious amounts of training to this, to which I have like a karaoke knack for how to extend language to make it seem like I'm singing.
Right.
But nobody's buying my album.
I feel like it's like accents.
Yeah.
Right? I can play British in a play.
Yeah.
But the moment that you would like me to pass for British next to other British people, get out of here. You should hire someone from London.
What are your thoughts on the tightrope?
Yeah.
Because you directed as well as performed in things, many things. And there's like that tightrope of what the plan is versus following impulse and instinct. Like, especially like when you're in a performance and something is locked, like you know what the show is, they know what they're expecting, you know how these beats roll out. Do you have any kind of perspective on your own of like, when should you feel free to just like go with your gut versus like, this is the plan, stick to it?
So I think that I do genuinely believe that I was put on this earth to be an entertainer, specifically in collaborative mediums. So that's filmmaking, that's theater, because I'm a micromanager and a type A personality. I love to plan. I love to deep dive. I love to prepare. But then you have to let it all go.
Yeah.
And to me, if you don't have the foundation of all that preparation, if you don't have all that structure, then the play is chaos. Then everything devolves because you just have everybody weighing in purely on instinct.
Right.
Versus, but when you're in an environment where everyone has their craft and their passion and their God-given abilities and all the preparation they've done in service of this singular story we're all telling together, it's like the best potluck in the entire world. And then however you choose to plate the dish, that's fine. But everyone's brought their best to the table.
Wow. The way you choose to plate the dish is your own. I love that. And I think it's so true. And I think like I very much have that analytical brain. Like I went to college for pre-law and was going like getting ready to go to law school. And then I was like, oh, I'll double major and get a minor in theater.
Okay.
And then my acting classes ended. And also they showed me how many books I have to read for the pre-law.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe actually I want some more acting classes. But I do think like acting in a big way saved my life because I do want things to fit in those boxes so much. Like I do have that analytical of like the plan. And then finding that in acting, I can have the plan and then still just like explore internally brand new things and surprise myself and surprise the other person, even while being within those artistic guardrails.
Sure.
That was like, oh, this has made me so much happier and freed me from this need of the perfectionism.
Can I get meta for a second?
Sure.
So in the context we are in right now, you have done all this incredible work to cultivate this environment for us to theoretically be freed up to have a vulnerable, intimate conversation about a piece of art that we saw.
Yeah.
If you doubt any of this, or if it isn't working, does that not allow you to feel as free?
Of course,
Okay.
yeah.
So in some ways, part of your preparation and process is
It's all of it.
creating this ecosystem for yourself.
Yeah, and doing so much work that I've looked in every little crack and crevice. Let's say if it's a creative project, every little to see like what is underneath this rock and that rock. Even if I'm never going to go there,
Right.
It's good to know it. Because what if I happen to stumble there?
Sure.
One day. I
Sure.
may or may not. And that's what I think that analogy is really beautiful of what you just made. We can talk forever just about us and all that, but there's so much to talk about with this show we just saw that I think we should dive into it. Let's start with the theater.
Yes.
El Portal Theater.
El Portal Theater.
So in 1926, it opened as a vaudeville house.
Okay, I get those vibes.
Yeah, and so that original facade and marquee have survived while the interior has been extensively rebuilt. Because in 1994, the Northridge earthquake completely just like decimated it.
Okay, so they started from scratch.
Yeah, and in 2000, it was reborn to the space it is now, where it has its 3 spaces, the main stage, about 360 seats, the Monroe Forum, which I think is where we saw our show, or we saw the show Perfect World with 96 seats, and then a bunch of other education spaces and gallery spaces.
And you performed there for This Could Be on Broadway.
That's right, for Tin Can Bros.
Yes.
Which was such a fun one. It was also like a right after pandemic, and it was how do we do a musical without having an audience in there? And so it was all filmed and released on their platform or on YouTube or however they released it. But yeah, it was such a fun spot to work in. And it's also one that a lot of things film in, like Glee has filmed there, Modern Family, Criminal Minds, a whole bunch, RuPaul's Drag Race. And so it's just like a very theater, right in the heart of North Hollywood on Lankershim Boulevard. There used to be a Big Wang's across the street, but I think Big Wang's is gone for good.
Okay.
I don't think there's any Big Wang's anymore. I used to go to Big Wang's so much when I first moved here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I went to acting class, and Monday nights, we'd always go to Big Wang's. That's all. Get a couple
I don't know
drinks.
that I've been in a Big Wang's
Oh,
before.
man, you missed out. Big Wang's. They had
really
great
did.
sweet potato tater tots. I prefer sweet potato fries to regular fries.
Yes,
but it's
me as
because I don't know what your reason is, but my reason is that I have trauma, which is I worked at McDonald's in high school.
Okay.
And so I've eaten so many hash browns and French fries in my life that
So regular potato you can't do.
it just doesn't do it for me. It brings back bad memories.
Sure.
And also, like, if it's a good sweet potato fry,
Oh, you can't be a
It's
good sweet potato fry.
untouchable.
But a sad sweet potato fry, I think it's worth just not having.
if it's just like a sad, soggy baked fry,
Yes, no.
ugh, give me mashed potatoes.
Yeah. You are doing everything possible to not talk about
No,
this
I'm not.
show.
That's not true.
Let's talk about the space.
By the way, you've heard my shows, and you know that the format is I talk about what this show is. Then I talk to the guest about who they are. Then I talk about the history of the space.
Yes.
And then we get to the show. So I had a deviation
we're-
about sweet potato fries.
we're right on schedule.
Sue me. Sue me. We actually are. Okay, because my analytical brain says 15 minutes in, we should start talking about the show.
Oh,
And it
wow,
has been
we are
16
timed
minutes.
out.
How dare you?
All right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I time it. I care about your
Well,
time.
then can I lead us in by falling on the sword right out of the bat?
Go ahead.
All right. I'd like to just say that I think that we probably saw the most developmental production that you have covered on the show thus far.
Yeah.
But I would argue that when we come out of the conversation today, this is actually what workshop theater is for.
Right.
And that a lot of what we'll be talking about, I anticipate,
Yeah.
is the experience of what it is to stand up a new piece of work, because you don't know till you know.
Yeah.
You can't see it until it's stood up. And so a lot of, to me, what is exciting about developing a new work of theater is to figure out what is working, what isn't working, what do we need to keep exploring. And through that lens, I think that what we witnessed really is a celebration of big theater kid energy, because we saw a lot of big theater kid energy on that stage.
Oh my gosh.
There was literal children on the stage. There was a lot of energy on the stage, and an ambitious project and scope.
So many songs and dance numbers
Yes.
that I was a little bit lost in them at times.
Right.
Because it was like, oh, we're just like making this a musical.
It was a bingo card.
at all times.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm not sure that we know why we're making those things happen, but they are happening.
Yes.
And we are committing fully.
Fully.
I will say, like, I just did this. So the Geffen has this program called the Writers' Room, and so it's 6 writers are brought into it, and the way they get in is they pitch an idea,
Okay.
and it has to do something. It has to do with their life in some way, and then they get a year of working together to
Cool.
write their projects fully, and then they get to do a workshop reading of it for an audience at the Geffen.
Which is what most workshops get. It's like a
Yes.
table read, essentially, or some music stands. And so I think the other thing that's so interesting about Perfect World is that in some ways it is the perfect world of what it would be to workshop a new piece of theater, because the resources that we got to witness on stage
Yeah.
were extraordinary in this production.
Let's talk about what Perfect World is.
Yes.
So Perfect World is a new mystery musical set in the 1920s that tells the true story of prodigy author Barbara Newhall Follett, a literary genius who vanished without a trace, leaving behind a haunting legacy of imagination and independence.
And in the program, it says, step into her world of ambition, imagination, and mystery, leading to a disappearance that changed everything.
I did a little research, and what a compelling and interesting and also tragic story.
Yes.
This is true crime podcast, like, gold. This girl, she was born in 1914. At the age of 4, she's writing poems. At the age of 8, she starts her first novel that gets published by Knopf Publishing Company.
Which her dad works at.
Right.
So she's kind of like the OG Nepo baby.
Yeah, for sure she's Nepo baby.
Okay.
and at the age of 12, has it published.
Yes.
But like, it's not like just published, it also gets like rave reviews. And then at 14, she releases a second book.
As one does.
And then by the age of 16, the depression hits. She writes some more things, but nothing really hits. And because of the depression, she also has to make ends meet, and so she takes on a job as a secretary and meets this man, which, by the way, this man's name is Nickerson Rogers.
Oh.
That's his full name.
Okay.
And I'm like, why aren't there more Nickersons?
Nickerson.
Like, we have so many Nicholas.
Yeah.
That is short for Nick.
Yeah.
Bring Nickerson back.
I mean, this wasn't a great guy.
No, I don't want to. Let's reclaim
Let's
Nickerson.
reclaim Nickerson.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's take it back from him.
Okay.
Because clearly Nickerson is a bad human being.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a great name.
And then they settled in Brookline, Massachusetts, and then she started suspecting him of cheating on her.
Mm-hmm.
And according to him, she walked out of their apartment on December 7th, 1939, with $30 in her pocket, which would be roughly $700 today.
And she was never heard from again.
And this is where it gets messy, because he didn't report her missing for 2 weeks.
Oh, see, that's not in the show.
That's not in the show.
That's a great piece of information in
Why
the show.
didn't I hear about that?
Yeah.
And when he reported her missing, it was under her married name, not the one that she'd been published for. So
Okay.
So not like her famous name
Yes.
of Barbara Follett.
Yes.
It was Barbara Rogers. So nobody was even like, oh, okay, so another person. It wasn't like,
Right.
oh, this famous writer, this famous child prodigy is
Right.
missing, which may be a great way to keep it under the radar.
Right.
And then
right.
even crazier It wasn't until 13 years later that her mom pushed the Brookline police to start looking for her.
Wait, what?
In 1952.
We were watching.
We start with seeing her parents talking to the police.
Yes,
that she's missing.
the show's entire framing device is the police search for her.
Yeah.
That her parents are driving.
Yeah.
And then we're doing these flashbacks to basically the chronological story of her life. So one of the things they did with this framing device is that they then projected chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. And those chapter breaks were relatively going back and forth between the police storyline and the childhood storyline.
Yes.
Dates would have been helpful.
Yeah.
Like in this case, I'm going, oh, that might have helped us really make jump.
If I was to call it, get rid of the chapters entirely and just put dates up there.
No, because the moment that you're in an audience and you see chapter 22,
yeah,
your heart starts to do something weird. Because you're wondering how many chapters there are to go.
It's
how we've gotten this far.
Yeah.
Yes.
There were aspects of this show that were effective. There were beautiful singing voices. There was some wonderful acting by these children and by these adults.
Yeah.
The screens, the LCD screens,
yeah,
these LCD screens were so impressive.
Yes.
The set was really beautiful.
Incredible.
And yet I don't think that all of those things added together made a very cohesive show.
In the words of Stephen Sondheim to Lin-Manuel Miranda during early workshops of Hamilton, I have observations. I know you didn't ask for observations, but I want to make them, and I suspect you want to hear them. And so when it comes to this production, one of the first things we should talk about is so many competing elements on stage. And one of them is I will shout out the production value of these LCD screens, these two giant, count them, 2 Romeo and Juliet style balconies.
Right.
And it made me think, honestly, El Portal should keep this installed in the theater, and I would see a different workshopped musical in there every single week.
Yeah.
And over the course of a year, you would find your next hit.
Yeah.
Because to be able to bring this amount of resources to an early workshop is this trial by fire. You will immediately see what works, what doesn't work, what sticks, what doesn't, where your story wants to go, where the audience is losing you. It's an immediate elevation of whatever is on the page.
But in the second act, I was like, oh, okay, now we're getting going.
Yep.
Now some things are happening. I'm actually watching this woman make some decisions in her life and get excited about some, and actually like have things progress character-based rather than plot-based.
Do you think that's also by the nature of the first act is essentially Annie?
Yeah.
Right? It's a children's story of like tough childhood, figuring it out, and then like kind of extraordinary thing happens. But then the second half is her as a grown adult, and it's really more the Fantastics. And there were some moments that really got into that sweeping romance and like long dance sequences and loving stares.
And it begs the question of who is this show for?
Yes.
Because in the first act, I was like, oh, this is a great piece of children's theater.
Right.
And it can totally work as that.
Right.
But in the second act comes, and I'm like, oh, is it though?
And through that same lens, I think that the question is, with this framing device of the cop drama, of like the investigation, which by the way, they never find her.
No.
That storyline is never going to be satisfactorily resolved.
Yeah. When you're writing or telling a true story, what can become difficult is you're so focused on telling the truth that you lose the chance to have an angle. But I think that in the medium of theater, there's so much more of an opportunity to deliver this information to the audience through some angle that can actually take us more to magic realism or to some other realm rather than just giving us the history book.
The beauty of any storytelling is that when you're inside the process, when you're writing something, when you're directing something, when you're working on something, it's hard for you to see it from the outside. The further down the rabbit hole you go, the less you can see outside of that original vision.
Yeah.
And in some ways, what's beautiful to stand up something in this way is you can then get these outside. Like, we did not take 15 years or 10 years to write this or however many weeks to rehearse this. And so we're able to come with truly fresh eyes and go, I'm confused. I have questions. Oh, is that what you meant? Oh, let me read about this little girl. Oh, that's so cool. Like, why didn't that get put on stage?
Right.
We get to ask these questions, and they're not, I don't think, criticisms.
No.
They are genuinely
There's opportunities.
Yes. They're us going like, oh, you've now got us invested in this universe, in this story, in this show. Mm-hmm. Here's this cool stuff that
I didn't know about Barbara Newhall Follett, and now I want more.
Yes.
I want more out of this show for her.
1939 is when I believe Barbara disappears. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
Yeah, that's
so
correct.
we have this cop drama going back and forth.
Yeah.
What genre define cop?
Yeah, we got the film noir.
We have film noir.
I know.
And then, so we could have had this cop drama that went super edgy.
Yeah.
Into the world of film noir, stripped away, black and white. It could have commented on the material even. You're telling me this case lasted 13 years?
Yeah.
That's got to drag on somebody? How many marriages did that destroy? Then what else came out in 1939?
Tell me.
The Wizard of freaking Oz!
Wow, yeah.
Which has become probably the most well-known property to make a musical out of right now.
Right.
And so you're going, oh my God, we could have had Hitchcock meets Wicked?
Mm-hmm.
That's the show we could be moving towards and workshopping towards and
it's
investigating.
all based in the real story. There's
Yes.
Farxolia, our wizard, our Oz.
Our Oz.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you have the real life world of the 1939
Right.
film noir. I
Yes.
think that's genius.
And you and I during intermission, then after the show, we were going like, oh, what if they done this?
This show inspired so much activity. Like our brains were starting to fire at the creative, like juices were just like bubbling up.
Yes.
If what Barbara Newhall Follett did was bend reality, then why not have a show that also bends reality rather than living so rigidly
Right.
within the realism?
You brought up this great point when we left. You were like, only like 800 people will ever get to see this show
In
because
this
it's a
form of
limited
it.
run.
Yes.
Right? And so what we're really describing is the value proposition of why should I go see a show
Yeah.
that is brand new, that I've never heard of, that's
Yeah.
getting its first production? Because this is happening in backyards all over the country. In your local community, there is some new play being workshopped or stood up, or in a college nearby. And this is why you go see this work.
Yeah.
It isn't the touring production of Six, the musical, that has hit every single town and it's on its fourth iteration. You are seeing something that this could be the only time it ever gets seen.
Right.
And it's going to provoke all these interesting ideas.
What I would do to have seen the off-Broadway versions of Hamilton
Sure.
before it became Hamilton.
Or the Philadelphia run before it went to the public.
Any of this.
Yes.
Any of these things where you're seeing something that's going to change, that's going to grow, that still has holes, that still has bumps.
Yeah.
And you got to to experience them in a way that nobody else ever will. I just want to shout out really quick the people that played her parents, Michael Denny and Erica Schindel. I thought that some of the couple of the songs that were the most effective were their personal songs in Act 1.
Oh, yes.
Feeling put out as being a mother who was not appreciated, who was not seen. And I thought her performance because unfortunately for her, most of her job was to deliver exposition until that song. Outside of that song, that's all she was doing.
Absolutely.
And then when she was being a little bit more manipulative in Act 2, she got to then have some more action. But outside of that, she was just pushing the story along by telling us when and what.
Yeah.
And then also the father, Michael Denny, having his song about feeling like his daughter was overshadowing him because he had his own delusions of grandeur that she was living fully in front of him, and that made him jealous, and that made him feel small. And so those songs actually helped push things forward through a character perspective that I was like, oh, something I can attach to that has humanity.
Sure. While we're shouting out certain moments, I will say that in Act 2, the love between Gabby Adner and Michael Wells and the big sweeping dance number, the big romance and moment really showed me like I would love to see them and the Fantastics directed by Kay Cole.
Yeah.
Like I would go to that production. Like they had lovely chemistry, amazing choreography, especially inside of a small black box like that.
Yeah.
And I was transported. I was ready to see that relationship in that show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was disappointed that was such a short-lived part of Barbara's life.
Right.
I felt robbed of that relationship as well.
This is something that what I was saying I had just discovered right now is Brent and Erica are Brent Schindel and Erica Schindel. They're married.
Keep it in the family.
I didn't know that.
Neither did I.
And he was a great cop.
Yes.
He was a great cop that at times
Almost turning to the audience with a little bit of a wink.
And honestly, like a perfect cop.
Yes.
Like a perfect detective.
Yes.
I wanted him to be more like even more just like, hey, I'm in my like my like window, and the window's got those old shades.
But that's back to the film noir thing.
I know.
Yeah, that could have been
that's
fun.
What I wanted.
Yeah.
But he was really wonderful. And one thing I will say. And maybe I just don't know the structure of musical theater enough, but I was confused as to how we saw him in these interstitial scenes, never singing, and then he gets the second to last song of the musical.
Yeah, no, he got our 11 o'clock number.
Right.
Or he kind of shared the 11 o'clock number.
With Gabby Adner.
With Gabby Adner.
And I do want to say, Gabby Adner was wonderful.
Fantastic.
She was captivating. She has a beautiful voice, a great dancer. I was fun. And also, there were times that I think the language was maybe somewhat expositional, and she did a wonderful job of adding life and story to what could have just been information.
Yes.
And I think that is hard.
It's hard.
It's kind of in the way that I so respect soap opera actors, where it's like you're shooting 6 episodes in 5 days every single week, and you are making it work.
The sound engineering was incredible.
Yeah.
In this show. I mean, we're talking a cast of 13, all individually mic'd.
I was witnessing that too.
And with an orchestra, a live orchestra being piped in from another room somewhere off stage. All of this being balanced in a 99-seater with no feedback.
Yeah.
And no slapback.
Nothing.
And what I know as a performer that can cause you to do is you are so overwhelming to the space because you're mic'd in what is supposed to be a small space that it can sometimes cause you to withhold a little. You'll retract. And instead...
You go into like some film acting in a sense.
And instead, they were allowing themselves to really be in the emotional honesty of musical theater, of being elevated.
Yes.
And then trusting that the sound engineer would pull back or correct or mix as needed in that experience. But going back to the kind of ideas of the confusingness of LED screens versus which production are we in, how are we telling the story, it is an interesting choice to walk into a space for a new musical and the orchestra is not represented.
Right. Another relevant note about that is how the curtain call was addressed,
Sure.
which maybe I'm up my own butt about it, but
I've asked 3 other people about this since it happened, so you are not in the minority.
I don't think so either. I've also talked to multiple people about it. If you're gonna in a curtain call,
you have to explain the curtain call.
The curtain. So a curtain call. No. It started out totally normal.
Totally normal.
Right? The smaller roles, they come out, they get a group bow. The larger roles come out maybe in pairs, but they each get individual bows. Then the whole ensemble gets a bow. Right? That should be the end of our bows.
Fantastic.
Maybe the lead comes up and gets one more bow, surrounded by their ensemble who have now filled the stage because we're building, not taking apart. Instead, what happened is after they all got on stage and had their group bow, then those smaller characters, those more interstitial characters were sent away off the stage. They were kicked out. You're not allowed in this part. And those people that had more important roles, they gave a bow. And then those people all left except for Gabby Adner, and this is not your fault, Gabby, but then she got her own bow again in an empty stage. And I just think the whole point of the bows is to thank the audience for being there and to honor who put work into it. And as you build the ensemble on stage for their bows, you can't then detract from that.
No.
That's what built it.
Yes.
They built it, and so we all get our bows together, and they can be there while these more individual bows happen. Don't send them away. That's so rude.
Yes.
That's how I feel, and I'm very passionate about that.
No, I think that's fair. And even when we compare it to like a movie, for example.
Yeah.
Right? You don't do the long scroll and then do the single cards.
Right.
Right? If you want to do the single cards, let us know the real key people that you wanted to really show off. They have fancier agents. That's great. And then we get the full scroll where everyone's got the same font.
Every single person,
Exactly.
same size,
That's
same
right.
amount of time on the
That's
screen.
right.
I will tell you, those bows, they made me mad.
Yeah.
They
Well,
made me mad. I don't like that.
yeah.
Because it went against the old adage of there are no small parts, only small actors, which this one, by the way, had some wonderful small actors to speak about it.
Yeah.
In
Literally
in
and
all of them.
figuratively.
Charlie Rowan McCain, Elizabeth Last, and Dia Day. Wonderful work, all of you. And what I'm guessing is a sister, understudied all of them by Catherine Last.
Understudied everybody?
Understudied all the children.
Wow.
All the little girls.
That's great.
A couple of other little things just to throw in, because we're reaching the end of our time.
Yeah.
There was a ship captain who came in. He played multiple roles, played by Guy Noland. And there was a moment that Guy Noland came in and saw young Barbara there typing and said, "Evening, ma'am," and then continued on his way. And I thought, did we get a man in the captain's costume to cross the stage just to say
one line?
Because it really felt like
it.
If that was what it was, I was going to say, I love this choice.
Keep it.
But then he came back and did a
he had a
wonderful
lovely
job
scene,
as the captain. He had a whole arc,
Yes.
and he actually was kind of a devious fellow.
He was.
Anything else you wanted to say about it, Brendan?
Not about this production, but what I did want to ask you is, so the last piece of theater I saw before lockdown, really the night before COVID pandemic, was you in a musical called Found.
Yeah, in downtown LA.
That is this new growing musical that's just trying to find its legs and trying to find its production. And that is the journey of most of these small shows. And so I wanted to ask, have you been in a show that got 8 performances and then just never was seen again?
You know, I guess like Found kind of was that in a sense, because our run got shortened.
Yes.
That show was supposed to continue on for another week and a half.
Okay.
And then we were meant to go to the Old Globe.
Oh my gosh.
In San Diego.
Yeah.
And I will say about that process is we had this director, Moritz von Stulpnagel, who is wonderful, a comedic brain, and also just this incredible writer's brain as well, where he was restructuring the show, moving numbers. Like the show that we started with was not the show we actually performed on opening
Which
night.
is as it should be.
And it's the way it usually is with new
Right.
shows. Same thing with the show I did, the Ava Gardner, Ava the Secret Conversations at the Geffen. He also directed that. And we were getting new pages from Elizabeth McGovern, who, by the way, also starred as Ava. So she was not only preparing and getting off book and getting her blocking and learning more about her character, she was also going home and then rewriting pages for the next day. And I just wonder how much of that workshop mentality was brought into this show.
And the experience that I had of doing the theater that I produced in New York for 10 years was all heavily workshop theater, to the point that almost like Carol Churchill or Mike Lee style filmmaking, the actors were contributing.
Right.
Of being like, oh, hey, I actually, like someone would have come in with that research about Barbara and said like, hey, I was reading this thing last night about this one thing that happened in 2019.
Right.
Do we want to have like that clue deposited in Act 1 somewhere? Like everybody's adding to the soup.
Because of our history, and yours is deeper than mine, of putting up new works, it doesn't feel like there was a lot of that energy.
Right.
It felt a lot of like, here's what's on the page, it is locked, we are putting it up.
Right.
And I think this could have used some more collaboration.
Right. Especially because of the artists that we did witness, these glimmers, these moments of seeing, I would love to see what she would have brought to it, or what he would have done with that.
Yes. Brendan, I think we've covered it top to bottom.
Absolutely.
I don't know that there's much more we could say, but except that now I want to go workshop another musical. I want to go like...
You can hire Ryan and I to workshop any new work.
We'll bring
that
more
you have.
ideas than
That's right.
you are ready for.
That's right.
Or that you want. Brendan, do you have anything to promote or talk about at this time?
I am in a very, very weird musical that may or may not work. It is a movie musical called The Devil and the Daylong Brothers. It is available on all of the streaming platforms.
Oh, great.
And it is the coolest independent film I've ever got to be a part of. Imagine if Tarantino wrote and directed Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Whoa.
That's what it is.
And it's called again?
It's called The Devil and the Daylong Brothers.
The Devil and the Daylong Brothers, available to rent or purchase wherever.
Or
you
probably
do
torrent for free if you're that kind of
No,
douchebag.
No, don't tell them. Don't tell them. They'll get a virus. You'll get a virus. You want a virus? You'll get a virus if you do that. Wow, Brendan, I didn't know how we were going to fill our time together, but we've already gotten to the end of it, and I feel like it just flew by because we've been so inspired by what we saw of how we want to invest more into it because how incredible this story is. And like there's a perfect little melting pot, like a starting place, a foundation to work off of.
Absolutely. And every hour with you, Ryan, is a perfect world.
That's A Perfect World, a new musical. If you saw it, great. If not, look out for it. It may be coming up somewhere else. And if you see any of our ideas out there, no, they were free. You can have them.
Yeah, it's true.
you don't owe us anything. Brendan, thank you so much for being with me here. Thank you all for watching and sticking with us all the way to the end. Like, subscribe, follow, do all the things that you would do.
Do the things. This man works very hard. This man works very hard.
This man also works very hard. And you work very hard. We all have a lot of things to do in our lives.
It's true.
And the fact that you spent a little bit of time with us means a lot. So I'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye!
We got big theater kid energy. Look out, we project, we sing out, Louise. Never market, always go full out. Pukaka-pukaka. John Patrick Shanley never had a doubt. Our voices are warm, fan kicks are high. We've got perfect form. We say thank you, Five. Taka-taka-taka-taka. Grab your prop, charge all the glow take. Curtains going up. 5, 6, 7, 8. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba. We got big theater kid.